Hey beautiful people, what is up and welcome back to my channel. I am Jamila and I love all things beauty. I love all things makeup, I love all things skincare, and I especially love sharing my tips and tricks for how to find high-end and luxury beauty products at bargain prices. So if that sounds like something you are interested in, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button and join the family. Okay, so I feel like I just did a haul. Like yesterday. So I'm back today with another haul because these brands are playing no games. You guys already know it's holiday season for makeup. So basically every single brand and their auntie, uncle, tanty, nenen, cousin, brother, sister have a release. There are so many releases right now, and you know, like the gullible little makeup addict that I am, I got caught and I did a little bit of shopping. So I wanted to come on here and quickly share my latest haul. Now, these purchases are across, like, honestly, mainly from brand sites themselves, not necessarily from like Sephora or from Ulta. I bought a lot of purchases. I bought a lot of products from the brands themselves during release, which is not something that I typically do because you guys already know I don't like buying things at full price. I need a coupon code, a discount of 50% off, something to that effect. So the fact that I bought most of these at close to, if not full price, is I done lost my godforsaken mind. Anyways, so let's dive in with the first product, which is actually what I'm wearing on my eyes and why I have two different eyeshadow on. And that is, you can tell from the black packaging, Mama Pat's Celestial Odyssey palette. Now, I went back and forth on this so much. I knew that I wanted it. I knew that I was going to buy it, but I didn't think that I was going to buy it on launch day. And I ended up buying it on launch day. Now, was that a bad move? I would say yes, because this is currently on sale during the Sephora Friends and Family sale for 20% off. And I only got a 10% discount. So I should have waited so I could have gotten the 20% off. But you know what? Sometimes we make mistakes. Sometimes we get caught up. And I'm not going to lie, these shades really did catch me off guard. And I knew that I had to have this in my collection. So I jumped on it and I bought this on launch date. Now, this is a beautiful palette. I don't regret it at all. You guys can already see the two looks that I have on my eyes. There will be a first impressions video up probably before this one. If not, it'll be right after this one. So you guys can see my raw thoughts on this palette. But yeah, the first one was from Mama Pat's. My next purchase is from NARS. Now, NARS is not a brand that I typically check for, but I had to pick up the NARS limited edition Climax palette because if you guys watched my last collab that I did with Eileen, she raves about this palette. She loves this palette. And she's talked about it so much that I was like, I have to get this palette. Now, I went through some hoops to get this palette. And let me just show you guys the color story. Really beautiful packaging. Some ASMR for you. And then these are the shades. It's like the perfect grungy fall palette, which I think is so beautiful. Now, I had to jump through some hoops to get this palette because I remember when this came out, it was on Sephora, it was on Ulta, it was at Macy's. And then, you know, I didn't think I wanted it because I wasn't sure about the NARS formula. This is actually my first eyeshadow palette from NARS. So I let it slide until Eileen basically said, if you don't have this, you are losing your mind. So because of her talking about this so much, I was like, okay, I'm gonna go get it. And I could find it on none of those websites. I literally had to buy this on the NARS website because it's not available anywhere else. So if you want this palette, I think some stores may have it in stock in store, but it's not showing up on the websites for like Sephora or Ulta. But if you want it, please, you know, you're gonna have to go to the NARS website to buy it. Next, I actually placed an order from Cult Beauty. Now, if you guys aren't following Beauty Deals BFF, it's an Instagram account that posts beauty deals like every day. And she posted about the Cult Beauty sale where they were having, I believe it was 20% off of Charlotte Tilbury, plus you got an additional 15% on top of it, which made the savings around 35%. That's the highest I've ever seen for Charlotte Tilbury. So, you know, I had to buy me some things. Now, I did get two samples. The first is the Alicia Keys cleanser, and then a sample of the Magic Serum, which is all cute and dandy. And the first thing that I knew that I needed to pick up was the Glowgasm face palette. Like, this just looks beautiful. I was like, this is just so pretty. No, I'm gonna say it before you guys can say it. The shades in here are definitely meant for a specific demographic. Now, if you look at it, it's absolutely beautiful. This is supposed to be a bronzer. It might work for my complexion at the deepest, but this is definitely not going to work for everybody. So that's probably my biggest gripe with a lot of Charlotte's products, is that they tend to favor a specific skin tone over others. But I do think that I can get use out of most of these shades. Like, I don't know if I can use this one here, but this one might work as a bronzer, and I can definitely use these two shades at the bottom. And the embossing, just beautiful. So pretty. So I had been eyeing this palette for such a long time that I thought, you know, 35% off for Charlotte, which is probably the highest discount I've ever seen for Charlotte Tilbury. I'll take it. The other thing that I picked up was the Charlotte Tilbury setting spray. Now, I have heard people rave about Charlotte's setting spray. It says that this primes and sets for up to 16 hours. I do have more oily leaning skin, so that would be perfect for me. So I've been eyeing this setting spray for such a long time. Oh, it has a nice smell. So this was actually the first thing that I put into my cart because I knew that was what I wanted. Now, the last thing that I ended up picking up, and this might be one of the dumbest decisions I've ever made, is that I picked up the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer in the shade number 3, which is tan. Now, if you watched some of my previous videos, you know that I already bought this. I bought this from Sephora and I returned it because I thought that it was way too light for me. I thought that it did not work well. And then when I returned it, I actually picked up shade number 4, which is here somewhere. I picked up shade number 4. Now, shade number 4 is way too dark for me. I have to go in very, very light-handed with shade number 4. So I was like, you know what? Let me give shade number 3 a try again and see if I can actually build it up and if it was user error. Because on the website, it does say that the shade number 3 will work for skin tones, will work for people that use the foundation 12.5N, which is my foundation shade. So if the site says that I should be able to use it, I should be able to use it. So this is number 3, which is the new shade that I picked up, and this is number 4. I may end up putting number 4 on my Mercari, because, my Poshmark, because it is definitely not my favorite bronzer. I barely reach for it. I have to go in very, very light-handed. And I'm going to give this another try and see if I can make this work on my skin tone. Fingers crossed that I did not just make the same mistake twice. Next, my order from ColourPop came in. You guys already know that I don't really rock with ColourPop like that. I barely shop from them. But they released their Halloween Gather Round Sisters Round 2 collection. And with that collection, they actually re-released the Gather Round Sisters Round 1 collection. So that was the one from last year. Now, I did want to buy this last year, and I waited, and I hemmed, and I hawed, and I eventually ended up missing out on it. Like, you know, it just ended up getting sold out. So I was like, okay, it is what it is. So when it came back, I took that as my sign for like, well, this is your chance. So I bought the Round 1 Gather Round Sisters palette. Now, I did prefer this one over the new one that they released, which is a little bit more colorful because, one, the packaging in this one is just absolutely stunning. And the shades in this one are more grungy. I think these are definitely more fall appropriate. I think these are definitely more my colors and the colors that I prefer. So I'm going to give this a try. Now, it does have one pressed glitter, which I don't typically rock with, and I know people don't necessarily care for ColourPop's pressed glitters. So we'll see. I'll give it a try. But I am glad to have this in my collection. I'm not a huge fan of the movie, but I do think that this is such a pretty palette. Even the packaging is beautiful. Like, all of this is textured. It's just such a cute palette. Now, from the Round 2 collection, I did go ahead and pick up one of the lipsticks in order to get free shipping. So I picked up the French Kiss Lip Cream in the shade Tonight We Fly, which is a really pretty deep purple vampy color. So I've never tried this formula from ColourPop. I do think that the lip creams are a new formula for them. So I'll give this a try and let you guys know my thoughts on it. Now, it is ColourPop. I have some feelings about ColourPop. So we'll see. I'm going to go in there with the bare minimum expectations. I'm just saying. Now, probably the most exciting thing I got in this haul was the Oden'S Legendary Diversa collection. Now, when Oden'S announced that they were collabing with 3 creators, Tina, Annette, and Judy, I was blown away from the time they said Tina. I love Tina. If you don't know Tina, she goes by the Fancy Face here on YouTube. And she is a Jamaican creator. She loves makeup. She loves color. And I have been following her for such a long time. She has no problem speaking out about brands, calling them out when they are not super inclusive. And she creates really artistic, colorful, beautiful looks that I've loved watching her for so long. So, and this is her first collab. This is her first eyeshadow collab. So I was like, I'm definitely getting that, whatever it is. So I ended up actually picking up 2 palettes from the collection. The third one by the creator Judy, I didn't pick up because it was definitely more red, orange-y color scheme. It was definitely the most neutral leaning palette. And I felt like I had those shades in my collection. So I opted to skip on that and save me a little bit of money. So I picked up Tina's palette and Annette's palette. So it comes in this really beautiful box. You get a little card that kind of explains everything. And then the palettes come in really nicely bubble wrapped. And the bubble wrap it's heart shaped. Like, have you ever seen a heart shaped bubble wrap? I can't. Anyways. So the first palette that we have is Tina's palette, which is the Hummingbird palette. Each palette comes in a sleeve that you just kind of slide off. And the actual palette has the exact same imagery as the sleeve. It's super beautiful. It's also quite textured, which I appreciate. And then when you open it up, you have Tina's signature here. And then these are the shades. Like, so pretty. Like, I had to get this. Is it probably too colorful for what I typically go for? Maybe, but, you know, I had to support Tina, and I did really appreciate her video introducing her palette and the story behind each shade, because I thought it was really thoughtful how she went about pulling the shades and how she went about being inspired by Jamaica. Now, the next palette is from Annette. Again, same sleeve, and then you get the really nice textured packaging here. Now, this is definitely the color story that spoke to me the most. It is a grungy blue-green, it's just so beautiful. Now, this is my second palette from Annette. I do have her Menagerie collab, which I love, and I had to get this one. If I had to pick one, it was definitely going to be Annette's, because this is the color story that I like the most, but I had to support. So I am very, very glad that I have both of these palettes in my collection. I will be doing a video on each of these because I think they're just stunning. And that's actually my first time purchasing from Oden'S. Never bought anything from the brand before. You guys probably know they are an international brand, so it ships from, I think, Sweden. The shipping wasn't too bad. It was very safely and securely packaged. Nothing broke, so I was very happy about that. The other thing, too, with both palettes is that they do each palette comes with a scarf. It looks like a satin scarf that has the same imagery as the palette. So I think that's such a nice touch, and definitely something I can use in my hair as like an accessory. So I thought it was a really nice added touch. Okay, and then the last thing that I got was the Glamlite Happy Hour collection. Now, just like Oden'S, Glamlite is a brand that I have never tried before. And when they started sneak peeking the palettes from their Happy Hour collection, I was just like, oh, I need that. I've never checked for Glamlite before because originally they had these food-themed palettes that were in the shape of like burgers and pizzas, and that didn't appeal to me. That just was not my aesthetic. So I completely ignored that. So when they released this collection, the fact that the palettes was square already caught my attention. And then they were drink themed. I love a good cocktail, so I was very, very piqued by the concept. And then the color stories looked amazing. So each palette comes in its own little bottle. So I think the packaging is absolutely adorable. And I do appreciate that the packaging is the outer packaging, not the actual packaging of the palette like their previous burger and pizza palettes. It opens up like this, and then you can pop out the actual palettes. So this first one is Dirty Martini. I love that they actually have the nutrition facts at the back, which I think is so cute. And this is the green palette. And this was probably the one that caught my eye first. I love green eyeshadow, so this definitely piqued my interest. The next one is Wine, and I love that each palette comes with a, like, you actually have to like peel open the cover of each palette. It's so cute. So you actually have to peel off the label first, and then you can open it. That I think is such an adorable concept. So next we have the Wine palette. This is the purple palette. I also love purple eyeshadow. Now, I do think that I have a ton of purple eyeshadow in my collection. This one looks like it has less shimmers and more mattes than the other one. But it's so pretty. So you get some purples and some blues. And it looks like a really random gold. If you cover that, it's, huh. That's interesting. Oh, and that one is called Chardonnay, so I guess it's like a white wine. And this shade Napa is a duochrome. That's really pretty. And then the last one is the Chocolate Martini. This is so cute. And this is the most neutral one of the bunch. Now, this collection did also include some lip products as well as 2 highlighters. I opted to skip on the lip products because I think I have more than enough lipsticks, as well as on the highlighters because I have well over 40 highlighters, so I did not need any more. And this is the Chocolate Martini one, which is the most neutral. When I saw this, I will say it reminded me of the Nabla Side by Side palette. And it's so beautiful. Like, I mean, it's a neutral palette. It definitely looks like it has some cool and some warm tones in there, but it's a neutral palette. So this was probably the one that I could have skipped on. There is also one other palette in the collection. It's the Margarita palette, and it is a more colorful, bright pink, almost like fluorescent type of color story, but it actually reminded me a lot of the Hummingbird palette from Tina, and I knew that one was coming, so I opted to skip on that one. So I just have these 3. Now, I am hoping I can do one video per palette on these because I just think that they're such a cool collection, and this is my first time trying the Glamlite formula. But again, I have so many palettes that I need to go through. I'm trying my best. You guys know that I work full-time, so I only really film on the weekends. So it's going to be really hard to get through all of these palettes and do all of these videos. So I will do my best, but bear with me. It's definitely not going to be at like the pace of some of these other creators that do this full-time. Okay, so I think that's it. Those were all of the products that I hauled. I think that's gonna be it for a while, probably until Black Friday. I know that there are other products that are releasing all of the time, but I do think that I'm gonna like really pause until Black Friday, and whatever I pick up, it's gonna be like on super sale because of that holiday. I am gonna also try to create a wish list for Black Friday because I think you can go crazy really, really quickly. And I want to be very, very mindful of how much makeup I'm consuming because I think I just showed you guys like 7, 6, how much? 8. I just showed you guys 8 eyeshadow palettes. Like, that is crazy that I just added 8 eyeshadow palettes to my collection. So I need to, you know, really, really think about what I'm purchasing, what I'm using, and just be mindful of that with the end of the year coming up. Anyways, guys, I hope you guys like this video. I know that hauls are one of my most popular videos on my channel, so I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you did, please go ahead and hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you are new to the family, and leave a comment down below letting me know what palette you're most interested in seeing me do a video on, because I'll try to prioritize based on what you all want to see. As always, I love you guys. Thanks for watching today's video, and I'll catch you in my next one. Bye!